Welcome back to Joe's Math Tools, where math is made easy. In this session, this is part 3 on calculating our fractions with unlike denominators. And in this session, we're using the cross multiplication method, which is better known as the butterfly method. And if you're ready to see how this is done, let's get started. In our session now, this is part 3, and we are using the cross multiplication method. And this method typically is usually the easiest method that students use in terms of working out their fractions with unlike denominators. And in this method, you don't necessarily have to worry about finding a LCD, but rather you're just going to be using a lot of multiplication to convert your fraction into their equivalent form. So let's get started. So in our first step for our cross multiplication, we're going to be multiplying our numbers across our fractions, our opposite fraction. So I will be multiplying 5 times 6. So I have 5 times 6, which will be equal to 30. And the 30 that I get here will be the numerator on the left-hand side of my fraction. So that will now be my new numerator for the left-hand side of my fraction. And next, we're going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. I'll be multiplying my 2 times 12. And when 2 is multiplied to 12, this is equal to 24. And this 24 will now be the numerator on the right-hand side of my fraction. And now for my final step, I will be multiplying my denominators together to get my equivalent form for my fractions completed. So I will now be multiplying, and I'll do it to the side so it don't mix in with my working. 12 times 6, which is equal to 72. And this 72 now becomes the denominator for both of my new fractions. So we have now converted our fractions into their equivalent form by using cross multiplication. Now at this step, since our denominators are the same, we're going to be doing the same thing that we did in the previous two videos, where our denominator stays the same and we add our numerators together. So we are going to be adding 30 plus 24, which will equal to 54 72nd. And now, because my fraction is not in its simplest form, I will be reducing it by using a common factor for both of my numbers. So the factor I'm going to begin with is 9. I know for most persons in looking at these two numbers, 9 and 6 would typically be the two multiples that kind of stands out the most for everybody. So they will usually be the two numbers that will be selected to use first. So let's begin with those two numbers. So I will be dividing my 54 by 9, which will equal to 6. And when 72 is divided by 9, that will equal to 8. Now, when looking at 6 and 8, because both of them are even numbers, I know that they are not in their simplest form, which means that I can now again reduce my fraction a second time by dividing both numbers by 2. Okay, so when my fraction is now simplified by 2, I have 6 divided by 2, which will equal to 3, and 8 divided by 2, which will equal to 4. And just like we did in the first two videos, we got 3/4 for our answer. But in each of these sessions, you will notice that we use different methods. Our calculations look different, but in the end, our solution was still the same. So again, this is one of the things that I love about fractions. Fractions sometimes have a multiple ways that you can work through one question, but overall, regardless of the method, regardless of the numbers you choose for your denominators, our final solution should still be the same. But as always, remember to get some additional practice in, and I also have more videos being loaded on how to add our fractions with like and unlike denominators, and also we will be moving into regrouping in our addition as well. So get some practice in, and I'll see you right here in the next session on Jules Math Tools, where the aim is always to make math easy.